So now, what I want to suggest is that if all that's true, we're really talking about an explicitly Christian context and the sort of Christian education applicability of this. And naturally, there comes questions about the structures of congregational life and all of that, which is good. But I want to suggest too that if this is so, I think a lot of this is actually transferable. These same principles are very transferable to our secular workplace conversation as well. Right? Because human beings are human beings made in God's image. God has built a certain kind of way of life and truth into the universe, whether we like it or not, or recognize it or not. And in other words, people are whole people. Right? Transformation happens when the whole person is engaged. That's true of your workplace training just as much as it's true of the making of disciples. Right? People will learn and grow when they're held accountable for what they're learning, when they're encouraged and when they're challenged. That's true of getting someone to change the way they work, as well as the person trying to grow in their faith. Right? So a lot of these same principles are actually adaptable. They come out of this Christian root, right, and these biblical roots, but it's very applicable, the same insights, to a much wider audience than just that. Don't segment these sort of things off. Just think through, how are all of these things applicable outside of the four walls of a church or a small group home meeting or whatever it might be, right? It's very applicable all these same ways. Right? The power of mentoring and modeling is the same. The power of practices is the same. The power of exemplars is very central to it, and so on. So I think there's a lot of the core of this that is transferable to other areas. I want to honor all the diversity of the traditions of the church as far as these issues go. And I'm sure there's probably a variety of different approaches to that question within this room and within the BGST constituency. There certainly is in the region constituency overall. So whatever your church's tradition may be, as far as the public teaching by male or women, or whether women have that, are given that authority, women are always given the authority to teach women. Right? And they're always given the authority to mentor and to disciple one another. And I hope that they would be given the capacity to mentor and disciple at the sort of small group level, men as well. Whether or not they have a public official teaching role or allowed to teach, from the pulpit and so on, I have my own views about those issues, the big kind of hermeneutical issues of the New Testament and so on. You have yours. But I would think that there's got to be a role to recognize the significant contributions of women as those that teach and mentor, and inculcate the faith. Amongst women, for sure, hopefully amongst all, it strikes me as astonishing, for instance, that, and problematic, that 90%, at least in our context, of Sunday school teaching is done by women. Right? If you follow the logic of this, the teaching of children is enormously important and it needs to be taken extremely seriously. Faith is formed very early and you're planting all kinds of seeds, and I think, to digress just slightly for a minute, we tend to dumb down what we teach to kids way too low. It's like, how many times do you have to do the Noah and the Ark story, Kids get it, right? And they can actually do far more. So I think we undersell how smart kids are and what they're learning in everyday life and what they're learning in school, and Sunday school is just like not really at their level in a lot of ways. Let's not do that. But women are the ones who run Sunday school all around the world. We've entrusted them with that, which is huge. That's the future of the church, right? The future of the church is in the hands of women, right? As far as the significant, my observation would be, honestly, sorry to be very critical here, guys, but women are the ones who attend more seriously and deeply to the business of formation and Bible study than men do. Right? They're the ones that are really making it more of a priority than a lot of men who get caught up in their own worlds and busyness and jobs and careers and all of those things. And I don't know as if men really take enough time for the kind of formation that I'm talking about. So men, I'm challenging you and the men in your orbits to really put some time and energy and seriousness into this, right? So women have an amazingly important role, and the value of women as teachers, mentors, disciplers, exemplars is enormous. Just enormous. So I would like to really honor that place and that contribution and challenge churches to create space for that to happen. Right? And if we think, well, we can't find any teachers, well, or enough teachers, maybe we're only looking for men. Maybe a lot of the need would be filled if we actually opened those doors for women of the right and suitable gifts. So those are some thoughts anyway. Other thoughts, questions? Anyone else want to put me in the middle of a very big, difficult conundrum, unanswerable situation? But I am getting on a plane in a week and leaving, so, you know, it gives me a certain freedom as well as a certain vulnerability, you know, so.
Why is Sunday school teacher majority?
Why? Okay. Is that true in Singapore? Yeah, it's true where we are too. It's just 90% probably. It's also true of elementary school or primary school in Canada and US. Our son had a teacher, grade 5, was it? Yeah, like the best teacher in the school was a guy, and he was so delighted to finally have a guy teacher. It was the only one he had his whole primary education. Fabulous teacher. It's like, where are the guys? Right? Where are they?